Hey everyone, how you doing? I've actually broken one of my cardinal rules because I'm really itching to do something. So basically I crawled out of my hibernation and I'm going to show you how to make this into that. Alright, so as you can see, the first thing you're definitely going to need is a speckled helm. I got this one at a website called Cult of Athena, right here. And for all my American viewers and all that, they're actually got a really good selection. They got some really nice stuff and everything. So if you guys want to check it out, that's where I got this type of helm. If you can find a better, cheaper place, because this cost me about $90 plus shipping and handling. So I'm just telling you right off the bat, that's actually very cheap compared to the other ones that I saw out there. But if you can get it cheaper, go for it. So we're going to start right off. I also just want to give you a heads up. I have never done this before, so you're going to see the screw ups as I do the screw ups. So knock wood, there won't be many or won't be any at all, because I don't want to be spending another amount, another $60, $70 on another helm to show it. But if I do screw up, at least you can learn from my mistakes. So we'll jump right into it. First thing you're going to try and figure out is where you want to put the rings to connect the mail to the helm. As you can see, I already started basically what I got, surprisingly. If you can find a dot matrix printer, this might actually help you do a lot of things. Is that basically I got a dot. I knew someone that had dot matrix printer, and more or less just took the pieces, those, remember the old pieces on the side? Well, just rip those off and more or less put it along the whole entire thing. This gives you an even distribution of where you want the holes to be and everything like that. But if you want to, do it yourself and everything like that, by all means. The reason I put painter's tape on here is because this is a flat, rounded surface. When I want to put the punch on here, I'm going to probably lose it. So basically this is just to give a little extra grip on it. Alright? The other thing I want to also mention is that there is a lining inside this helm. And as you can see, there is some stitching here. I want to avoid that stitching. So that's the reason I placed those up a little higher. So when we get to that point, we'll see how that plays out, and we're going to hopefully be doing quite well on that. Okay, so now that you... Okay, so first thing you want to do is make sure that this is even, so that it's not drifting everywhere and all that. So what I use is that there's actually a couple of rivets underneath the painter's tape that I used basically to keep this the paper straight and even. Okay, once you got that down, grab a felt pen or whatever you can do as a mark, and just go over the whole thing. You can see the reason is that you want to pull the tape off. You want to pull the paper off once you're done with it. Continue downwards until it runs along the shoulders. It's it's just a lot of extra crap that's floating around is that there's a few things I did find out as I was putting the mail on that you might be interested in. Right? One of the first things I did notice is that, and you probably see here, is that instead of putting two rings into... Oh, when you get to here, make sure that if you can get the circles from these different pieces of paper to overlap each other. That way it'll be a nice continuous stream for the mail when you want to put it down. I know that it won't work for every single one, but if you can get as many things overlapping each other, will probably work better for you. Okay. So there you go. You got all those pieces, you got everything covered. Now just pull it away, and now you have a better view about where everything is going to be ending up. Don't worry about the paper; it served its use, unless you want to save it for other reasons. Actually, one thing I would suggest too is that if you grab a bunch of this, grab pieces of oak tag maybe, or anything of like a hard thing, put it down, and then just put marks through it like what I was just doing, and then cut the oak tag, and then you have a permanent piece that you can always pull out when you need it. Actually, I should do that. Oak tag actually is probably a better, stronger paper than what I'm doing now. Like I said, you learn as you go. Okay. So there you go. You got your hole. You got your marks where you're going to be drilling the holes. So, all right. So now we got that down. Now let's get to the punching. So I have my helmet securely, more or less, locked in my vice grip. All right. Now what you're going to do is first get your ear protection on, such as get a punch. All right. Match it up to where you put those marks. It's best, center as you can. Ball peen hammer. And there you go. You got to make sure that the don't have to hit it super hard, but it's good enough to, at least that you know that you got through it, is when you break the tape. Then you definitely know that you left a mark on it. You don't have to hit super hard. You just got to give it a good hit. And I will see you for the next tutorial. All right, coming within a couple of months. So now that you have this one side done, stay warm. Pop it out, spin it around, do the other side. I also put a piece of wood on the outside and a piece of leather on the inside, so that the grooves of the vise won't bite into the metal and distort it or distort the leather. Of course, it's a bit of a pain in the butt to do it. So you know what you do? Grab some tape. God bless tape. Especially painter's tape, because this stuff actually doesn't leave any residue over and doesn't rip anything apart. So it's actually very, very helpful. Except when it doesn't work, because it's cold outside and the glue of it just kind of starts giving up on you. So you just kind of hope, pray that it stays on. You get that? Well, yeah, when you do it, you always can just make sure it stays. You hear a crunch, that's just the wood. That's like I'm saying, use a couple of spares, like if you have a paint stirrers or something like that, that works probably the best. Now that it's open, you can start on this side. Once it's secure, I mean. Alright, there you go. You have all your marks where you want to drill. Alright, you can keep the tape on. I'm just going to keep it on just to have a visual reference, and also you can see better on the camera and everything. But you can, if you want, you tear it off. I would prefer to just keep it on so you know where it is. Alright, now that we got all the initial stuff done on this, our next thing is to drill. So let's get to that point now. Cross your fingers, knock wood, and throw salt over your shoulder and whatever else. I don't think I've screwed up in any way. So what I've shown you so far works. All right. So now we're gonna go is to the most important, probably the most, most important point in this whole entire thing, and that is to drill the holes. Okay. I'm gonna say right off the bat, when I get to this point along the back here, I would suggest, is my general plan is I'm going to go very slow, so I don't go right through the leather, because I have a leather punch which I will use to punch through the leather here, and basically that's the best thing I can do. Biggest problem though is that as you can see, the back here does not fit underneath here, underneath the drill bit. So we're probably going to have to do this in a two-part process. The first part, I'm going to use the drill press just to drill the holes, get that done with. But once it comes to the back, I'll probably have to use an electric drill or any other drill, put it back in the vise, and go through there very slowly with that. All right, we'll see how it plays out. All right, so first thing I would suggest too is that when you do this, is start with a small drill bit. Don't go large, because if you go large, then you're going to be in trouble. Go with small. If it's too small, just go up one size. Of course, that's common sense. So I mean, hopefully that's the. But I also know that sometimes common sense tends to get lost in the process of making the stuff. Trust me, I've done that where I've just gone off the deep end and just kept on working on it and come back to it, and then I find out I screwed myself up. All right, so basically, set the drill up. If you can't get the drill, this is one thing I've learned too, is that the drill doesn't have to be. You always can jam the drill bit as pretty high up, so you can make it a little bit snug and everything like that. As you can see, I pushed it as far as I can up into this piece, up into the drill. It's the drill press. So now I have some opening space here, very little but enough. All right. Like I said, I'm going to take this slow, so I don't go through the leather, and hopefully I don't ruin anything. Also remember, eye protection as always. Alright, did my first hole. Okay, now with the first hole is now I can see what I did. Actually, there is an actual leather foundation underneath the lining, so I'm probably gonna have to drill through that too. But now with the hole though cut through, actually I found out too is that you don't need to get this close. This doesn't, because this is not going to mean anything. This one, though, this will probably mean something. All right. So, thing I suggest though is now that the hole's there. Just get the metal, get the wire that you're going to use. You don't have to wrap it or anything like that, but see if it can go through the hole. Which you can see, this one goes through fine. So I found the drill bit, I want to use. The drill bit I want to use. I mean, I could go for a little smaller one, but I want to have some free movement in the ring. All right. So we're going to start there, and we're going to slowly make our way around. Like I said, so we'll see what happens. Knew that was gonna happen. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem there. Hey, so we are now to the point of no return. We've already started drilling the holes in the side here using the drill press, as you saw. I'd also just want to show you though is that there were a couple of problems. One, I broke my drill bit in the process. So when you start seeing your drill bit bending, that means you got to that point where it probably won't be doing any better. Also though, like I said, this is the reason that you should take your time, look at the helmet, see where everything is. It's because when I was drilling, I accidentally drilled through a few of the rivets that are holding the strap onto the helmet. I don't see this going to be a problem actually, because when you put the rings through it, actually will probably be supporting it too. But I'm just saying though is that it has caused some damage, and so I'm just gonna watch myself with that. If it doesn't work, you know, I'm just gonna have to put another rivet in. So, but just that's what I'm saying. Just take a look, make sure everything is going. But actually, I'm very happy with the work I've done so far. So, because now we can't use the drill press any longer, we're going to have to be putting this into a vise and then using electric, or I'm going to be using both an electric and a battery-powered drill, because I don't know which one's going to work. I'm thinking the battery drill will work better because I can control the speed on it, but the thing I hate about those is the batteries burn out quick. So, we're going to play it and see how it works out. Oh, actually, I'm just finding this out. When you get to here, when you get to the goggles themselves, don't push on the drill. You're going to start bending the metal a little bit. So just let the drill do its part, you know. I mean, that's the reason for electrical appliances. So it does most of the work. All you're doing is guiding it. And there you go. Got all your holes. Now you probably can take off the tape and you'll be alright. Alright. So now that we're done with that, we're going to go on to the nail making process. Alright. We got all our holes. Alright. Now we went through. So that's finished. As you can see, there are some pieces here of metal sticking out. I'm going to use a countersink to get rid of it. People said ball peen hammer, whatever you feel you can work with, and it feels easy for you, do it. The other problem I'm finding though is that because of the constant stress of drilling through here and all that, some of the lining is starting to fall away from the helmet. Best thing I would suggest. This stuff is really tough, so basically I find that it's just a little easier just to drill through it and so that you can get two jobs done at once. Alright, so once you're through that though is that you have this thinner layer of the lining and also what helps support the helmet on your head. You didn't want to drill through this because it may actually spin around on the drill bit and pull itself apart. So what this is how I'm working with it. If you can find a better way, tell me. That'd be great. Is that I'm gonna grab a needle, or if you have a screw, or I mean a nail. I'm sorry. Grab one of those. Right. Find a hole as such, and then slowly push through, as you can see with this needle, all the way through. Okay, now you have a hole. What with that hole is that you grab your hole punch, line up the hole punch to the hole that you just created, and basically, see, like I said, this thing is old, so it's a bit touchy, and then pop the hole through. Okay. Most likely that will go through. I'll just get the needle, nail, whatever you're using again, and go through the opposite direction to make sure that it is a clear hole, because that's going to be really it's going to be a pain in the butt when you want to put the rings through, because the leather will stop you. All right, because as you can see, I actually start putting some holes in this to see if it worked or not. Put a couple rings through it. And I did have, like, the ones that were completely open, had no problem getting them through, but the ones that had a little bit of like leather still jammed in there, it was a pain. All right, so I'm going to continue on doing this. Excuse me, and then once I'm done with this, we're going to go onto the mail. There's been a few times I've been asked, why do you make your own rings? There's a few reasons. One's financial. You know, I think it's cheaper. But more importantly, the fact is that I can create my own size rings for the situation that comes up. So I can make small ones, I can make large ones, I can make medium-sized ones. It just, you know, for whatever situation comes up, I can have the ring set for it. This project is one of the perfect examples of this philosophy, and I'll show you this right here. Okay, right, as you can see, I already started putting the rings on here. All right, and as you can also see, there are 3 different types of rings that are being used to produce the mail that's going to be covering the face. If I went and bought the regular rings at wherever you can get them, they'll usually probably come in this size or a little bit larger, but not as large as these. So if I buy them, I'd be SOL. Now, because I produce my own rings, I produce the sizes that I needed to create this part of the project. As you can see, I produced the large rings here, and then medium-sized ones to attach to the smaller rings. But it also kind of gives it a nice look to it, a nice flow. Instead of going from large to small, it kind of goes from large, medium to small. All right, so I'm not going to be showing you this whole entire slow process of producing the mail around it, because I mean that is basic 101 metal armor making right there. And also, I'm not going to show you how to make a rig or how I make my own rings, because I already did a couple of tutorials on that. So if you guys want to look it up, just go to my YouTube site and you'll find it there. What I am going to show you though is how I'm putting these rings on here, because the process of putting these rings on here are a little bit different from what you usually do about when you make regular mail. All right, so just give me a second. I'm not gonna do any cuts or anything like that. I'm just gonna move the camera over and just show you straight off the bat. All right. Okay, so the thing is with this is that with usual ring making, what you want to do is usually go like that. The problem is though, that doesn't really work too well with this, because you just don't have a lot of movement and you don't have a lot of give for it. Alright, so what you want to do instead is spread it out, like such as that. Alright, you're going to distort it, but don't worry, everything will turn out alright. So what you want, after you open it up a bit, the nice thing too is that these rings are large enough, you're not killing yourself like with the smaller rings too. So you can actually do this with your hands. So what you want to do is go from the inside out or outside in, whichever way is easier for you. And all right, actually, hold on a second. I want to just pull this up a bit. All right, and I've just got to get it a little tighter here. So please bear with me with some of the adjustments here. All right. Okay, so now that you got your ring in, if you want to try and close it as such, what happens is that there's just, you're going to have a gap in it. So what you want to do is basically bend it back, go over itself such as that, and then return it back, then pull it back a little bit, so then you have a completely closed ring here. So now nothing's going anywhere. If you just want to be on a little bit on the safer side, spin it around so that the opening is inside the helmet, such as that. So now there is definitely no place that this thing's going to go. Only way it's going to do is that this gets ripped out, gets ripped out. So let me just show it again to be very, just to be, so without me babbling over myself. So boom, it's just in, over itself. Another thing I also just want to mention too is that when you get to the goggle part, all right, like I'm going to produce some more mail, so that's going to be as close as I can get to here. What you want to do is get these middle rings, all right. These ones you're probably going to need a pair of pliers. So, all right, and if you have the pictures of the Vendel helm or anything like that, you can use that as reference, because I'm just going to do the same exact thing. What you got to just do is basically put it through the hole as this, and then connect the mail this way. It's a side shot. It's like a sideways type deal. And just work it down, and then when you get to here, then all you got to do is put it straight down, and then just keep working down that way. I mean, this is all common sense. That's how come I'm not going to go crazy on it. Just showing you quick little things about it. But that's pretty much it. I mean, once you get through the drilling and and prepping the helmet and everything like that, after that, it's a relatively straightforward process, very easy. And it's something new and something different, and you don't have to spend $200-300 on a replica of a Vendel helm or those type of helmets, when you can go buy one for $60, do a little work, and you got your own helmet. The only other thing I would really suggest too is once you rip off the tape, you're gonna have the grooves and everything like that. Just get just find something to smooth out the holes and make it a little bit easier. I mean, you probably can use a buffer, and there you go. You got yourself your own Vendel helmet, or if you want to say dramatic migration period helmet, or just badass. I mean, whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. So, okay, everyone, here you go. Here's the semi-finished project that I've been creating. So, as you can see, I've been working on I've been putting the mail on. The reason I'm doing this too is I just want to show you a few things that I found out in the process of putting the mail on. One of the biggest thing is that I could not connect every piece of the middle rings to the large pieces, to the larger rings. The reason is that when you try to start connecting the rings to one another, they slowly pushed in on one another to try and hold it. So what I found out, what I had to do was that for one large ring be two small rings. All right, people that people that know how to make mail knows that when you make mail, you don't want to have any spacing. You want all the rings to be connecting to one another. It doesn't work here because of the large spacing in between them. The reason I'm showing you it is I think it's better to show you than to explain it. So like I said, you can see right here where there's only one ring holding those two right there. So you don't worry about it because it's so close to the helmet. It doesn't really do anything, and the smaller rings are what holds it together. The other thing I want to show you too is that in the front of the nasal section right here, as you can see, there's a large section here that is not connected either. I attempted to connect it for the first time, and what happened was that all the rings around the nose all pulled to one direction. So I was forced to leave a few of these rings hanging freely. Again, don't worry about it. I mean, unless you're really going into battle, even then, this is such a small hole that I don't think you're going to have to worry about. I worry more about the large goggles. But like I said, so you also can see I'm working on the front here. The reason is that I'm playing unlike the real Vendel helm where the mail is completely unbroken. I'm gonna probably separate this and let this hang down on the shoulders and let the face, this piece, the veil, to go down a little farther down, and hopefully like around to the mid chest. I'm also planning to probably put some glass beads on the bottom to connect it to, give it a little color, a little flash, a little swag, as some would say. And that's pretty much it. I don't have much really else to say besides, good luck with, if you want to try this, good luck. Like I said, hopefully this will help you along the lines. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop one. Send me comments or questions. By all means, I'll try and answer them as best as I can and as fast as I can, because everyone knows I'm probably not one of the quickest people to respond to those questions. And that's it. And I will hopefully see you guys in a few months with the next tutorial. And yeah, good luck.